Welcome back to Veterans Info Tap. Glad you're here. Wanted to do one more video on, kind of a combined video on both concurrent retirement pay and disability pay, concurrent retirement disability pay, CRDP, as well as the combat-related special compensation, which is the CRSC. It can be a confusing couple of programs out there. So just wanted to give a quick high-level general breakdown and hopefully paint the picture for our retirees or those that are getting ready to retire, so you can kind of have a clear understanding. So if that's something that you're interested in, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps get the information out to more of us to eliminate those I wish I would have knowns, right? So with that, what we're looking at is the issue that happens for retirees is when you retire, you get retirement pay from the federal government. In addition, you most likely will file for service-connected conditions with the VA, which is also a government agency. So there is double-dipping laws in place that don't allow traditionally this type of pay structure where you're receiving two separate basically benefits from the federal government. So there are a couple workarounds, and that is the CRDP, so your concurrent retirement disability pay, and your CRSC, which is your combat-related special compensation. So those are the two workarounds to help alleviate this, I would say, injustice, right? Because let's be frank, you served in the military, you got disabled, and you have retirement. You should collect both, period, end of story. However, the way the laws are, there had to be these workarounds in order to make sure that that could happen for us. So it's important to note the distinction between the two and kind of how they work. Again, this is just high level, just to really hammer home some of the points. So when you're looking at that retirement pay and the disability from the VA, what the government wants to do when that happens because of these double dipping laws is, let's say, just to use easy figures, let's say that my two fists here are your retirement pay in full. And let's say that your VA disability compensation would be one fist, right? So really, you should get all three, in my opinion, right? These three fists, your retirement and your VA compensation. But what the government wants to do because of these double dipping laws is they want to essentially replace this top fist of your retirement pay with the VA pay. So they remove and replace, essentially. And they make this one tax-free. Now, this isn't representative of 50%, right? I mean, it's my fists happen to be the same size. So it could be a 30% of the amount. It could be 50%. It could be whatever of your retirement amount, because depending on your retirement pay, how long you served, your grade, did you have reserve time, all of those factors would also come into play. But you get the point. They're basically waiving a piece of your retirement that's taxable and replacing it with the VA money equal, dollar for dollar, but now making that not taxable. So there's a small benefit to having that tax-free portion, right? But it's not right. So then what we look at are these two solutions. So one of the solutions, if you have a 50% rating or higher with the VA, is the concurrent retirement and disability pay. And what that does is it basically takes that the government wanted to do, pulling over your VA money, it takes that back out, replenishes your retirement pay back to 100% taxable, and gives that to you. Then they go, okay, and here is your VA money of 50% rating or greater, and they go, here you go. You get two checks. One retirement, one VA disability compensation. There you go, end of day. Awesome solution. Personally, I enjoy that one. I think it's a great option for folks because in my opinion, again, and I've said this before, the longer you've served, the more likely you should have a high rating, and ideally 100%, right? So the fact that if you are a retiree with less than 50% rating, you need to figure that out. And happy to help and watch the videos, get with an accredited vet rep, whatever you need to do, talk with buddies, comments below, that type of stuff to figure that out, because there's definitely a way typically. So the other option is our combat related special compensation. Now the way that one works is a little bit different. What happens is it essentially creates another bucket for you. So remember that when you first retire and you got this VA money coming in, the government wants to replace part of your retirement pay with your VA money. So what happens is it separates out the VA money again. Your retirement still stays at a reduced rate. Then they create an offset with the CRSC bucket. Essentially, you're receiving 3 checks. One that's retirement, one that is your combat-related special compensation, and then your VA money. So it's another way to do it. Now, it's important to note, very important to note, that you may not receive, the full replenishment. So let's just use easy numbers. Let's say that your retirement was reduced by $1,000. If your retirement's reduced by $1,000, the CRSC, combat-related special compensation, is only going to focus on combat-related conditions and use those to help offset that $1,000 deficit. If that only equates to $800, well, then you're not getting that full amount back in a separate check. You're getting a portion of it back. But it's still better than nothing, right? Better than a sharp stick in the eye any day. And the other thing to think about is... Or really, it's just keep in mind that it could be all or it could be partial. So if it is all, then it is all. But the bottom line is that with CRSC, it's essentially a separate check for you. CRDP, which is if you're at 50% or greater, you're only going to get the 2 checks. You just get your full retirement essentially gets reinstated, and your VA money just continues to come as a separate check. So you get these 2 separate checks with the CRDP. Now, one last thing that I'll tap on this is if you are in a situation to where you have a 50% rating and you are not being granted the CRDP for some reason, you need to start making some phone calls. So in other words, if you have a 50% rating with the VA, let's say it took you a couple times to get there. Your first rating was 30%, you filed another one, you got a 40, and now you filed another one, and now you're a 50, but you are still having that offset happen where you're only getting the 1 check, that part of it's tax-free through the way that the government does it for the double dipping laws, and they did not separate it back out and give you your full retirement and your VA money. You need to start making some phone calls to the VA, to DFAS, to whoever, your congressional member, and let them know that something didn't click over right with the VA once you hit that target at 50%. So with that, I'll go ahead and conclude it. Thanks again. I appreciate everybody, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.